Now, for more on this outbreak and the efforts to contain it, I am joined by Nikhil, Bhayani, an infectious disease physician with the Texas Health Resources. He joins us now from Arlington, Texas. It's amazing to see those empty streets, both in Beijing and in Wuhan. Let's start out with a bit of background, how doctors began to realize this virus was something much more serious than a bad case of the flu.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. The novel coronavirus, it is a different virus from the SARS and the Middle Eastern respiratory virus. Also, the symptomatology is very similar to some of our common viruses, such as the influenza and the adenovirus.
Now, we as a people are now focused on containment. When you see medical professionals in the white suits and the military being called in, it almost begins to take on the specter of a bad movie. How is containment being done from what you have seen? And transparency seems to be the key word.
Right. So, I mean, in terms of what we're seeing, the way the virus is being contained there in China, some of the videos we have seen, the healthcare workers are wearing their white suits. You know, I think a lot of it is that no one really knows, or I should say, the extent of how this virus can be spread. Of course, one thing we know, the virus is spread through, somebody who coughs, sneezes. Also came to know that some of the folks who have had this illness have had diarrhea. It can be also shed in the stool.
Your thoughts. Let's talk about treatment with thousands infected, China building hospitals in a matter of days. What can and is being done for patients?
So usually when you have a virus that's present, there is no definitive treatment. So most of it is what we call supportive care, making sure that they get plenty of IV fluids, oxygen, and the necessary nutrition either through IV to overcome this illness.
You talked about viruses having to basically run their course and drug companies. What are they doing right now, and what do you think is being done to deal with this virus?
So from what I have gathered, right now the virus is being studied very carefully in various laboratories to determine if a vaccine can be made available. And it's going to take some time to do the research and development. The earliest you'd be able to see a vaccine would be sometime end of this year or early next year.
Wow. Just walk us through what stands out for you in all of this. We've always heard, people take care during something like this, make sure you wash your hands, use disinfectant. Are those simple things going to be enough to help people right now?
At this point, yes. This virus, you can decrease the transmission by making sure, let's say, you wear a mask if you have respiratory issues like coughing, sneezing, runny nose, and also hand washing as standard. Very important to reduce the risk of transmission of this virus.
And we also know that so much is being done to limit people leaving the capital of Hubei province, Wuhan, and travel throughout not only other parts of China, but other parts of the world. What about that strategy? Is that going to be enough to just try and keep this contained?
Well, at this point, it is an effective strategy, but the big question comes up as we came to know today that this virus can be transmitted even before symptoms develop. So the question here is this travel restriction going to have a major impact? It will have some impact on reducing the viral transmission, but whatever has gotten out there, we just have to do our best in implementing the proper measures from reducing further transmission and preventing illness.
Doctor, for the United States and other nations that have seen cases of this pop up, what is your best advice for people who may be concerned? I had relatives come from China, or I was on a plane where someone flew in and came from China. Are there legitimate concerns out there right now?
I think the legitimate concern should be just monitor them for symptoms. if you have a relative, a friend who's visiting from China, you just want to monitor their respiratory symptoms. Are they coughing? Do they have any fever, body aches? If so, then they should seek immediate health care.
Great. Doctor, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be talking back with you and other physicians about this in the days and weeks ahead. Thank you.